Hello folks, R1 here. Welcome to episode 9 of Ranger 1 Presents Virtual Realms. We've got an awful lot of ground to cover and I'm going to be going fairly quickly, so bear with me. In this episode, we're going to take a look at what to expect next in our favorite online games and also take a look at a couple of important new directions for this channel. First, I'd like to explain something. The Virtual Realm segments that I do were originally intended to be of a very general nature, giving a broad overview of new developments on the horizon, as well as important channel updates. However, since my coverage of EVE Online centers around new release content, my Virtual Realm segments had slowly begun to be devoted solely to that game. This is not the direction that I had intended, so from now on, EVE Online will have its own episodes devoted strictly to EVE Online content, and Virtual Realms will go back to its original format. So to get started, we'll jump directly to EVE Online, which figures, right? No, I just wanted to give you a quick heads up about a couple of important EVE-related events coming up soon. The Tiamat release just came out a couple of days ago, and we've already covered that ground. But keep in mind that the next release, Scylla, is going to be out on March 24th. Now, I don't have any hard details about the content planned for Scylla yet. Rumors abound and facts are few and far between, but hopefully it will center around SOV and sovereignty structures, which have been in desperate need for quite some time. I'm fairly certain that Scylla, as Scylla approaches, we'll also find out more about the Circadian sleepers that have been lurking around, as well as the mysterious drifter battleships that seem to accompany them and perhaps protect them. It's also likely that we'll find out more about the new light steadily growing larger in the EVE starscape, the stellar phenomenon known as Caroline's Star. It's known as Caroline's Star despite the fact that it is almost certainly not a star, since it seems to defy several rather important laws of time and space. It has been speculated that there is a connection between Caroline's Star and the new sleeper presence in our corner of the EVE universe, and possibly even to the Jovians or other even more ancient races. Time will tell. Citizens of New Eden should also be aware that the most important social event for the EVE player base is almost upon us. FanFest, held in beautiful Reykjavik, Iceland, will be held from March 19th to the 21st. And while I will not be able to attend myself this year, I will do my best to bring you coverage of some of the more interesting events that occur there, including something quite unique that's caught my attention. For the first time ever, a tournament known simply as Worlds Collide will take place at the Fest. It will be a best-of-5 tournament, with the combatants being none other than the best tournament teams from both the Tranquility and the Serenity servers. To those of you unfamiliar with EVE, China has, for various reasons that I'm not going to go into at this time, has always had its own completely separate version of EVE to run amok in. Prior to this event, there has been zero interaction between the two servers. So this will be a first. The event will have its own unique format and prizes, but we will go into that in detail when the time comes. Next up, let's turn our steely gaze to War Thunder. Now, I'm usually at work when the development servers open, but I can at least give you an overview of what's being worked on for the next patch and beyond. Airplane cockpits seem to be a focus for development lately, and we will soon have the ability to open and close them. I've seen footage of this from the test server, and it seems they will close when you take off from a runway and open when you eject from your plane. And that will all happen automatically. I'm not sure if we'll have the ability to manually trigger the change. Additionally, we'll soon have working cockpit lighting for night battles or for inclement weather, which may be helpful for simulator pilots now that we are seeing more matches with atmospheric effects in-game. Now, if only they'd finish the cockpits for more aircraft so we could actually use these new effects more. Tanks are getting some love as well, with 2 new view modes. Binocular view, which I personally feel will be very popular, and another view that I'm not entirely sure about. Known as driver mode, it gives you a very limited view from the driver's point of view. We'll have to wait and see if this mode is actually useful or not. And speaking of driving your tank, now you know how in other games you can lock your weapon on an enemy vehicle, and while you keep firing, you can manually drive your tank around it. It's called circle strafing. Well, Gaijin has decided that this is backwards, that it's all wrong. They're going to do it a different way. They're going to bring in a driver-assisted mode where you basically turn on autopilot for your tank. And as it orbits automatically the enemy vehicle, this frees you up to manually target your gun. I have no idea if this is going to work or not, or if, like the concept of destructible buildings, it's going to end up being vaporware. We'll be seeing some modifications to a number of maps, including Kuban, Karelia, Eastern Europe, and, thank God, Mozdok. These will be most welcome. And you have to give War Thunder props in the special effects department. The new heat shimmer effect that's going to occur whenever you fire a weapon or even from the exhaust of your engines, it looks great. And if you're a pilot fond of high altitude work, contrails will be in game as well. And that, my friends, looks cool. We'll also see optimized and improved foliage effects, but unfortunately those will only be helpful to people with high-end computer systems. No love for ultra-low graphics as of yet. Of particular interest to the tankers among us, there will be new terrain effects in play as well. Yes, now the type of terrain you choose to travel over will have a much greater and more varied effect on your vehicle's performance. Mud can be a hazard. Soft terrain can give you good traction but decreased speed. Roads can help speed you on your way, and cobblestones may turn city squares into the equivalent of a skating rink. The type and width of your tracks may have a direct impact on your preferred route and method of attack. And I can't help but wonder if this can or will be taken one step further and be modified by the type of weather you are experiencing in a match. Will a driving rainstorm turn that farmer's field into a quagmire, or that normally transversible incline into the proverbial slippery slope? It's probably a bit too much to ask for, but in the world of War Thunder, stranger things have happened. As I was putting this video together, Gaijin announced a couple of changes aimed specifically at arcade ground battles. These changes will not occur for realistic or simulator battles. A toned-down version of the old raised artillery view will be coming back as an option you can choose, although the elevated view will not be as high as before. Map targeting will remain an option as well. And bombs used in arcade mode will now have a 10-second delay by default when released from an aircraft. Additionally, bombs dropped will have a warning icon over them to help make tankers more aware of the danger they are in. Now, I find the wording of their announcement interesting. A 10-second delay after release of the bombs. If accurate, this could also be a move to encourage bombers to drop from a higher altitude, so as to reduce the amount of time that their bombs will be sitting on the ground with a big fat warning icon over them. It is possible that Gaijin recognizes that the current method of simply diving disposable bombers into your target and releasing bombs at the last second, effectively suicide bombing, needs to be removed as the most viable method of getting your bombs on target in arcade ground forces battles. Either way, this new mechanic should entice players to rely on rockets more than bombs, and make ground attack aircraft a more viable alternative to bombers in general. Well, we've covered an awful lot of new content for War Thunder, but let's wrap it up with the new vehicles coming into play, starting with the mighty Moz for the Germans, the much-anticipated B-29 Superfortress, the Flak Panzer 38T Gepard, the low-tier but highly elegant Focke-Wulf Condor, the M26E1 Pershing variant, the B-57B-2 with its revolving door for a bomb bay, an up-armored T-28E, and yet another Sturmovik with an admittedly nice camo pattern. And the most welcome Tiger E variant, complete with a better selection of ammo types. Couple all this with new tournament events and what appears to be a new bonus system that bestows goodie boxes randomly on players for everything from winning in combat to simply logging in, and you end up with a huge amount of new content coming our way in the next release or two for War Thunder. I'd tell you when the next release will happen, but Gaijin appears to continue to be the only gaming company in existence that prefers to surprise their community with such matters. Suffice to say, it looks like the next release will be relatively soon. And now for something completely different. Yes, Gearbox Software is just about to release the Homeworld Remastered collection. It's going to include the classic Homeworld 1 and Homeworld 2 games, updated to work smoothly on modern PCs. More importantly, the collection will also include versions of these two epic games with completely remastered graphical effects and sound. They both look gorgeous, but more importantly, these games will include a strong multiplayer component that allows players to pit any race from both games against each other. I'll be bringing you plenty of Homeworld gameplay in the near future, but what has me even more excited is that Gearbox has been working very closely with the extensive Homeworld modding community and has included a complete toolset specifically designed to make modding extremely easy. In the past, modding Homeworld was always difficult and extremely limited in what you could attain. But that's all about to change.
The mothership is standing by.
We should have some phenomenal mods coming out soon for this game, based on a wide variety of sci-fi universes, and it will be my pleasure to bring you gameplay footage of the best of them. Pre-orders are available now on Steam, and the collection will be officially released on the 25th of this month. Last but not least, I have a sort of non-announcement for you. You may notice a slight reduction in the number of videos I bring you over the next several days, or at the very least a somewhat higher number of subscriber replays coming your way. It appears I'm going to have my hands full with a different project for this channel that has me very excited. Now, while I'm not going to name names, a certain game that most of us have been anticipating is having a very limited alpha test over the next few days, and I have been one of the lucky handful selected to participate in it. While I can't release any footage of it right away due to a strict NDA agreement, as soon as I get the go-ahead, I'll be bringing you as much footage as they will allow, which should serve to give you a good, close look at this highly anticipated game. I wish I could be more specific, but reasons. That's going to wrap up this episode of Virtual Realms. Guys, until I see you again, good hunting.